Okay, so I am uh, going over one of the problems that are on the FPT-7 practice HiSET test. This is question number 8, and it's a data analysis question related to using bar graphs to answer questions. And this problem will actually combine two skills in math. First, analyzing data using bar graphs, and then second, calculating a percentage, setting up and calculating a percentage. So I am going to annotate this. All right. So first thing you'll always do when you approach a question like this is begin by reading. So let's read. The graphs below show the total value in US dollars of the imports and exports of country W with its only 3 trade partners, countries X, Y, and Z, in a recent year. All right, so this paragraph tells us something about the tables we're about to encounter. First of all, it tells us that it's the total value of imports and exports of country W. So these two graphs are both about country W. But they're showing information about 3 different trade partners. These are other countries that country W trades with. And the trade partners are countries X, Y, and Z. So you could think of it like if country W was the United States, then countries X, Y, and Z might be Mexico, Canada, and Great Britain. These are 3 other countries that we trade with. Okay, so the first thing I see is value of imports. And I see dollars in millions on the left-hand axis, and I see the scale goes from 0 to 90. That means that dollars range from 0 US dollars to 90 million US dollars. And then I see along the bottom axis, we have the 3 countries, X, Y, and Z, and we have a bar for each country. So for imports, country X, that value would be 40 million US dollars. For imports for country Y, that value would be 80 million US dollars. And for country Z imports, that value would be 40 million US dollars. Remember, imports are the amount of goods coming in to the country. So these are things coming into country W. All right, and then we have a second table here. This is value of exports. So again, it's framed similarly. We have dollars in millions on the left-hand side, and we have the 3 countries X, Y, and Z on the bottom. So export values for country X would be 60 million US dollars. Export values for country Y would be 30 million US dollars. Export values for country Z would be 20 million US dollars. And again, exports means the number of goods or products leaving country W going to those other countries. All right, so now let's look at our question. The question reads, what percent of country W's total imports was from country X? So it's important to note here that they're asking us what percent, right? That's an important note to make. They're asking what percent. So anytime they're asking you about a percentage, it's good to remember that we have 3 different ways of thinking about parts of a whole: fraction, decimal, percent. And you've probably learned somewhere along the way that you can relate fractions, decimals, and percents. So what we're going to do is actually build a fraction to represent this problem, and then we'll convert the fraction to a percent. Fraction is going to have a numerator and a denominator. So I'm setting up a fraction here with a numerator and a denominator. The numerator is the part, and the denominator would represent the whole. So they're asking us what percent of country W's total imports was from country X. So out of the total imports from country W, they're asking us what part of that, what percent of that is from country X. So if we were to set this up, this would be from country X, and specifically we're talking here about imports. So X, country X, and I'm just going to put IMP. That's going to abbreviate for imports here. So imports from country X is the part. The whole would be the total imports that are coming from, or into rather, country W. So I'm going to put country W here, total imports, right? So we have part of a whole. There are lots of imports coming into country W. Some of them are coming from country X. And we want to know what percent of those total imports are coming from country X. So we're going to set up a fraction here. Now I've given some labels, but let's look at specific values. So what number, what value is the imports that are coming into country W from country X? First, which graph are we going to have to look at to find that information? The value of imports or the value of exports? Well, this problem is about imports, so we're going to look at value of imports. Specifically, we want to find the value of imports coming from country X. So specifically, we're looking at country X. So if we follow this line up, we will see that this corresponds to 40 million US dollars. And I'm just going to put the number 40. We're not going to worry about adding that million. Everything in this problem is kind of reduced by the scale. So we don't have to put the full number 40 million. We can just put 40, recognizing that that is 40 million. All right, and then W, the total imports coming into country W. Well, total is going to be from all the different countries, no matter what country it's coming from. So I'm going to modify my color here so you can see. So again, we're still looking at the value of imports, but this time we're not looking only at X, we're looking at all of the imports, the total imports. So we know that 40 million is coming in imports from country X. We also have another 80 million coming from country Y and another 40 million coming from country Z. So really, we'll have to factor in all of these different values to find the total imports from all countries. So when we are calculating the total, what operation are we using? Are we adding, subtracting, multiplying? Well, actually, we're going to be adding to find the total. So 40 from country X, 80 from country Y, and another 40 from country Z. All right, so I've got a good strong fraction established here. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and do the math. If we're thinking about a problem-solving process, understand, we understood the problem by reading and analyzing the graphs. Plan, we made a plan by setting up a fraction, thinking about what operations we would use. Now we're going to attack our plan. That just means we're going to do the work, right? So the top number in the fraction does not need to change. It remains 40. The bottom number, we're going to go ahead and add these numbers together. 40 plus 80 plus 40 is 160. Now what we need to do, because we've established a fraction here, but they're asking us about a percent, right? They did not ask us for a fraction. They asked us for a percent. Our choices are framed as percentages. So we need to figure out what percent is the fraction 40 over 160. We're converting a fraction to a percent. So to do that, we're going to use a two-step process. Step one is to divide. 40 divided by 160. And great news, on the HiSET exam, you will have a calculator for the whole thing. So you can pull out your Casio FX260 calculator and type in 40 divided by 160. And you should see on your display screen on your calculator 0.25 or 0.25. So what we've done here is converted the fraction into a decimal. Now we've got to take another step and convert that decimal into a percentage. So we're going to take this decimal point. Percent means out of 100. So we're going to multiply times 100. When we do that, we're going to move that decimal point 2 places to the right. And then we're going to add a percent symbol. So this is going to correspond to 25%. 25%. So my choice is 20, 25, 33, 40, and 50. We know the correct answer here is 25%. All right, so I hope this is helpful in understanding how to attack this type of problem on the HiSET exam, but I look forward to offering more solutions and information in the future. Thanks, have a wonderful day.